awesome, great, glorious day it is. This is the day the Lord has made, and indeed we shall rejoice and be glad in it. My oh my, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Umubanga podcast. Remember, we're here to transform, motivate, and inform. And today we have a very special guest. I think I've known her for like the longest time. I don't know if you remember, because used to stay in Luangwa, just behind Coptic Hospital, and Bishop Nkonde, the household pastor, yeah. So today we have a very special guest. Her name is Zion Kemba Nkonde Mwelwa. All the names. They're all the names. Yeah. So she's our special guest. Who'll be dealing with a very important topic. A topic dealing with grief, a topic dealing with loss of children, not a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, so please make welcome Mrs. Mwelwa.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. So first things first, would want to know, who is Zion? So Zion, is it like a...
So Zion came about because of the business.
Okay.
So my full names are Miriam Kemba Nkonde Mwelwa.
Huh.
Yes.
Okay.
But a lot of people call me Zion because of the business.
So Zion in Yosi Pasache, just like, I like this name. I'll.
So the business had Zion, then it came to me.
Okay.
Yes.
So for somebody who's new and would want to find out, so who is Zion?
Firstly, I'm a child of God.
Okay.
Yes. First born in a family of two. Married and have 2 living sons and 2 in heaven. That is very important.
Okay.
Yes. So I think that sums up who I am. As Kemba, when it comes to ministry, I sing.
Okay.
Career-wise, an entrepreneur. Okay. But I also was an environmental scientist for the past 7 years. I only changed, that was early March last year, and went full-time into business.
I saw you studied wood
Science and technology.
So what's that all about? Is
so
it
that's
like
the
going
science
into
of wood.
So you're going to the forest and
not really.
So what's the science of wood?
The science of wood, you need to understand the science of wood, especially even when in construction. So we obviously did some courses with people who were doing building science and structures, planners also. When it comes to mines and everything, even the doors, they have to dry to a specific moisture content, depending on the area you're going to put them in. So did you purpose
for that, growing up? You're like, hey, I want to be a wood scientist, or you just stumbled upon
When I actually finished grade 12, I didn't know what I needed to do. So I just told my grandfather to decide because he was lecturing. So I said, you know me, so just pick what you think.
So it was like, hey, you're going to be a wood scientist.
He knew I was adventurous because even as I was a wood scientist, an environmental scientist, when I was working, I moved a lot. So he knew I would enjoy such things.
Okay.
Going out, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
So you did mention that you sing. So is it like the singing in church, singing like what?
Type of singing. Okay, so I've been singing in church for the longest time. I'm sure you mentioned about my dad. So both my parents are pastors. They actually met in Bible school.
Okay.
So I've been singing in church for the longest time. So church, crusades and everything. I found myself in some competitions also, like Dream Zambia Season 1 and MTN Music Score. But with time, obviously there's growth and everything. And people identify and say, no, you can do more than this. Yep. So I found now people around me saying, no, you need to go beyond just singing in these places and actually creating music for people that can be healing and also transforming. So that's how I found myself in studio last year.
Oh, yes. Awesome. So you did mention that you're married, you have 2 children, 2 living children and 2 in heaven.
Yes.
So walk us through your marriage journey.
Okay. So I got married to my husband in 2016. Met him a long time ago.
You're just eyeing each other from a distance.
Long time ago. Yeah. We started dating in 2006. So dated for about 10 years. So long time, yeah. We had our ups and downs, but eventually we settled down together. And then I'm sure when everyone gets married, you're excited, we're going to have a baby and everything. But our journey was not like that. First 20 weeks were okay. Then around 20 weeks, they said, no, you have somehow threatening to this pregnancy. So I had to be on bed rest and some procedures were done. So my firstborn son was actually born at 7 months.
Okay.
That was 31 weeks.
Okay.
But we thank God he survived. He actually beat the odds. He was not even in the incubator for long. He was there for maybe 2 hours.
Okay.
Yes, but our second son, we lost him quite early. And then our third son, they did the same procedure. So there's what they somehow suture the cervix. Yes. And then that was the first pregnancy we had full term.
Yeah.
He's grown up. He's a busybody. And then now we were expecting our fourth. That was last year.
Yeah.
But around 20 weeks somewhere there, we had what we call PPROM, which is a leak in the sac. So that allowed infection to get into the sac. So once he was born later on in the 8th month, he was born with an infection in the chest, so he couldn't keep his oxygen levels. Then the following day he passed on. So that's been our journey.
Okay.
Yes.
Just move the mic closer to you.
Okay.
So you had that experience. Of course, the first one still alive. The second one that happens. Walk us through the mindset through all that. Like the first one, of course, he's living. The second one, you lose him, and then third one,
He's here.
yeah. So what was the process from? Of course, we have the first one leaving, second one lost, and then now you're going into the third one. What was the mindset?
It was scary because obviously the first time, even just having the bed rest and having a high risk pregnancy, it was really up and down.
Yeah.
One moment you feel like you're so hopeful, the other moment you're feeling like you're crashing. You're wondering why other pregnant women will be able to go and shop, but you're in bed, you have to shop online and all those things. So, and then now you have a loss. That loss obviously hit me hard because I was not expecting it. Yeah. And it's asking so many questions. You really don't know what's happening and everything. At that moment, it's actually easy for you to lose your faith. So when it came now, pregnancy after a loss is actually very difficult because now you have to believe something after something bad has happened. That's very hard. But I remember there was one song that kept me going, which was, "You are too faithful to fail me." So whenever I was shaken or the doctor would tell me anything, I would hold on to that. And that kept me going until I actually reached full term with the third one.
Okay.
Yes.
So in that instance, when you experienced the loss, how was it? Because look, you're in a relationship for 10 years now, you're married, and understanding the fact that you are coming from a Christian background, how was the process? Because sometimes somebody would just be like, maybe somebody sinned between the two of them. That's why the baby did not survive. So, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously our culture and so many things, when it comes to child loss, firstly, women are told not to open up. We've got so many women who maybe lost a child 20 years ago, but they haven't healed because they're not allowed to mourn. Yeah. So already tradition is coming against you. There'll be sayings like, don't cry so much, you block the other children you need to have. So they'll tell women, don't cry so much, you're going to block the other children. And, just dealing with all those things. But I think what helped was I had a very strong support system around me, and coming from a Christian home, and my in-laws also, it helped really. They told me, if you have to grieve, you need to cry, because you can't hold it in. So that helped a lot. Yeah. So the first loss, that at that point, I really didn't have understanding. I was wondering, wasn't my faith strong enough, and all those things. But by the time I was having the second loss, which was last year, I feel like I had a very strong foundation because I had done, I was at Rema Bible School for 2 years before that. So it's like I had a base that was strong. I understood who God is, whether in the good or in the bad. He's still good. And all he has for us are good plans, even when things don't make sense. So having that basis made it way better for me to actually go through the last 7 months.
Okay. Yes. I will throw this question to your husband. You can just switch on the mic. Yeah, I think you can size. Yeah, I can hear you. What was your process like? Look, you your wife is. They say that men don't experience pregnancy and they do not experience the same pain which women go through. What was your take? Because the reasons why we're dealing with the first one, because the second one now you had like experience. Of course, it's different. However, how did you feel as a husband and seeing your wife go through all that?
I think the first one really affected me a lot because I was in hospital for 7 days. I was actually the one at the bedside.
Yeah.
I never worked 7 days. I was just
He refused to leave.
doing everything for her. But the second one, I was out of the country.
Yeah.
So she called me, so no, you are a father again. I said, oh, okay. I just arrived that day in SA, then I said, okay, I'll start coming back tomorrow. That was around 18. So the time it was 05, they called me again. They were like, when are you coming back? So I could sense that something was off. What's going on? Why do you want me to come back? Because I haven't even started working. I just got here. They said, no, you need to come back because they couldn't tell me.
Okay.
Then my young sister made a mistake. She sent me a message saying, my condolences. I didn't know we'd go through this loss again. So I knew I've lost my son, not my wife. Because I was now in that balance of saying, who's gone? Is it my wife? Because I was on the video call. She was okay. The baby was okay. So I got confused. And I feel like this one didn't hit me as much as the first one.
Okay.
The first one was because I was in hospital when it was happening. And this one was a bit different. I was a bit far. But it was just painful that the boy was born okay, then he had to go.
Yeah. So we speaking on the two losses, how did you deal with that? How did you heal? Because I guess that had a toll on your marriage and your relationship. Because look, the way she's feeling is different from the way you are feeling. She might be expressive. You are quiet the whole time, not knowing what's happening. So how did you navigate that?
Actually, I prefer dealing with pain myself. I don't like talking about it. I love giving myself time to heal at my own pace.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in let's go for counseling, let's do what, because I know myself when I'll pick it up. So even now, I haven't visited his graveyard. I had my close friend, Johan, he actually did everything, made sure the baby was buried at memorial, all those things. So even when she told me, no, we need to go there, I told her I'm not yet ready. Yeah, because it's also a process. The way she would heal and the way I would heal, it's different.
Okay.
Even the pain, the way she feels it, because she carried the baby. I didn't carry the baby. It's different. That's why I tell her, if you want to cry, you can just cry. I will support you until such a time that you'll be okay.
Awesome. That's good. Thank you. So coming back to you, look, you grew up in a pastor's household. So did you wrestle at all with your belief in God or your faith as a Christian amidst the whole tragedy, the loss? You had the first one, of course, prematurely, and then the next one, born, but then next day passes. Did that affect your faith at all and your belief in God? Because look, we are taught that we are not supposed to go through suffering. Well, I do not know how people read that Bible and they told us that, but the general term is that as a child of God, one who is filled with the Holy Spirit, it can't be. It is an error for death to happen. Like, how did that affect you?
Firstly, I think Paul told us in the newspaper that we will pass through trials and tribulations, but God will be with us.
Yeah.
He's with us in the valleys, on the mountain. He is with us. So I feel like my belief was affected on the first loss, as I said. I feel the second loss, the foundation of me going through Rhema Bible School, really already prepared me, because the first time, obviously, you're trying to imagine when you understand the character of God, you will see things differently, even when tragedy happens. But when you don't really understand, you're wondering, why is this happening to me, and all those things. So the first time, it was really hard. And because I was so angry with God the first time, it took longer for me to heal. But this second time, where I actually understand how good God is and how at the end of the day, he doesn't want any harm to come to us. And just understanding that and allowing the Holy Spirit to carry me through the journey has allowed me to heal in a very beautiful way. I can say I'm able to testify and say I've experienced joy and peace that surpasses human understanding. That I can, yes, definitely I'll have times I'll cry and all those things. You have triggers, you've got all those things. But I can say there's a very big difference with my healing journey now and on the first one.
Okay, so I do understand there's a faith background on your end, but here is somebody who, number one, doesn't believe in God, and then they go through this. Look, there are sometimes people come through, also in the church circles, they can even tell somebody to say, this thing which you have gone through, God will use it for you, for his glory. He's glorifying his name, and then you're there wondering, like,
Yeah.
So in all this, do you feel God used death for his glory?
Yes, but before anything, I feel also Christians have to be careful when they're actually talking to someone who's mourning.
Yes.
You'll find someone has just lost a child. They'll be like, it is well.
You have to be strong.
Like certain things, they are right, they're true, but timing.
Yeah.
Sometimes timing is very important. Sometimes it's actually okay to just sit down and say nothing. You just visit someone, you say nothing. Don't say no, God's will, just don't say anything. Just sit there. Because the person actually, it's like wrong timing sometimes. And you see this, they want to use so many scriptures and that's not helpful. Sometimes someone's presence, just being there, is okay. I had friends whereby I feel so bad, I'm having a breakdown, I'll call them. They'll just come cry with me. They will not say anything. They'll say, we're going to cry, I feel better, then they go. And that was the best thing ever. And I've noticed so many people, especially Christians, who usually say the wrong things. And then when it comes to using this tragedy for good, definitely I have seen that. Because I've seen so many people actually now wonder. I think I had someone, from the States, who were together. She also lost a son. So now I think maybe a month or so after, she sent me a message along. She's like, how are you managing to look happy? Like she couldn't understand.
Yeah.
So I now realized that the way God was carrying me through the journey was actually an encouragement to other people. It was actually helping people. I've had so many people now, because I'm sharing my story and talking about it. It has now opened up women to actually share their stories. I'm seeing comments on my posts, them saying, no, I lost my son or this and that. And they're opening up about what they're going through. So despite the pain, I believe that he has used all this to show that even if we're in this world where trials can happen, he can carry us in a beautiful way.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. So, God will use it for his glory. Yeah. What for a mother right now who's lost a child or going through the most, even in this difficult time, what's that one thing you'd want them to hold on to? Because there are others who might not even have the support of a husband around, or a support of parents, or even just people around. And what
can I tell them?
Yeah.
Firstly, they should take it day by day. When you try to think of how you'll be maybe in the next 1 month or 1 year, it will be too much, because you won't be able to fathom how you're going to survive.
Yeah.
So take each day as it comes. Take small steps, minutes, hours. Just be willing, especially in the first few days, be willing to just survive and breathe. Just breathing. Because sometimes, when you lose a child, you find that you have this pain that even breathing is so difficult. So if you can just say, okay, let me just take this step and breathe. And then them to just know that they'll have both bad and good days. Some days they'll feel like they've made so much progress. And then some days they'll just feel like they crumble.
Okay.
So they should just hold on to the fact that even in the bad days, they should tell themselves, yes, today is a bad day, but tomorrow won't be like this. And they should have hope that there'll be more good days than bad days. And if it's someone who's just recently lost a child, I want you to see yourself in me 7 months from where you are.
Interesting. When we were talking, you mentioned that you have an organization now which deals with that. Can you elaborate further on it?
Okay. So because of my journey to parenthood, me and my husband's journey, I was able to share my stories, and I saw how so many women on social media were able to get in touch with me. I've walked through now people's journeys who've had losses. I think one beautiful story that really warms my heart is one of the ladies who, when she read my story, that time I think she had 10 losses. And then by the time I met her, I think she had 2 more. And on the 13th pregnancy, she had a baby girl. And the way she told me that my story was encouraging her, and other women also who have journeyed through, whether people recommend and say, no, Kemba's passed through this, talk to her and stuff. I saw the impact it was having. So I thought, well, why don't I make this so big that we're able to actually go to women who are also not on social media and other areas, because the people who actually need the most help are the people who can't access the best guidance.
Yes.
So I said, okay, fine, I had a vision to now come up with an organization that will be able to even source for funding to be able to help women from wherever they are who are affected by gyne issues access good gyne health. So women and girls.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
So would you attribute that some of your losses were based on not having like proper access to gyne services? That's why you experienced those complications?
No, actually I had the best gynes.
Okay.
I had the best gynes, but at the end of the day, everything is a risk. Even a pregnancy that doesn't have complications is a risk.
Okay.
Yes, so I am so grateful at the best gynes. I've had the best gynes, I think, for the past 7 years now. Okay. They've been amazing. So they've seen the boys and everything. They've gone far and beyond to do whatever they can do to make sure they try and handle the situation. And I'm forever grateful for them.
Yeah.
Yes, so I did have the best gynes, and I feel the same support I had, other women should have, because I've seen the way I've explained. Imagine someone having all those 10 losses. I think that shouldn't be the case, especially if we have, people being monitored closely. We can see our hospitals, the government hospitals, we have maybe less staff and everything. So the concentration is low, especially on those with high-risk pregnancies and issues. Okay. Yes.
Okay. So anyways, back to the NGO you spoke, offering services to people even in the outskirts of Lusaka, availing different gyne services. So what more is it doing? Is there like offering counseling, therapy and all that stuff? Yes,
that's the other big part of the organization. It's counseling, because we've actually noticed that there's a gap even in our hospitals when people have got lost or are facing fertility issues, or let's say someone has got fibroids, they have to maybe remove the uterus and everything. Our hospitals are not able to provide counseling services afterwards. Are they following up? Because people can get depressed. So many things happen. So now us trying to say how best can we fill that gap to help, so that even people after they've gone to hospitals were able to have a place where they can actually feel safe to talk and, be able to heal from whatever experience they've had. And I'm grateful that we've had some nurses approach us that it would be good to also just do some brochures, so that in the gyne sections, they're able to offer women and say, they see maybe this person has got this issue, they're able to offer this brochure, and those people are able to contact us. Yes.
So is the NGO running their offices or contacts people can use to get in touch? Because I know this is a big issue, especially in most of the settings we have. And as I earlier mentioned, that there are a lot of myths, superstitions, and just like a cultural thing attached to it when people experience loss of children. So, yeah.
Okay, so we're actually starting to function this very year.
Okay.
But we're already registered, with Ministry of Community and Development. Yeah. So we have already registered the NGO and everything. So now we're just putting some final things into place.
Okay.
But what we are starting with is awareness.
Okay.
Because we've noticed, as you were saying, all that is lack of awareness. Sometimes it's good when people get to know, even when I'm going to see someone facing this situation, what should I say? What shouldn't I say? Even in the workplaces, how do you handle people like that? All those things. So the first half of the year, we are focusing on awareness. So targeting social media, that was starting next month. So social media, and planning now to start going all out when the rains are done, even in communities, because we've been able to talk to some guys who are willing to actually give talks, even in the communities. And the same way of actually putting brochures in the hospitals in the gyne areas. Yes.
Okay. Sorry to divert back. You were in church. So what was having been in church pretty much your whole life and experiencing this loss, did you get the necessary support, or you were just told it is well? And
From church?
yes, because I'm looking at it, look, the same myths, the same misconceptions a lot of people have because church is made up of society.
Exactly.
And there's this they become our leaders in that vein, leaders in the faith. So if their messaging is wrong, then it gets to affect everybody. So others might think, like, I think there's a point in the Bible where Jesus Christ is asked to say, this blind guy who sinned between the father and the mother.
Yes.
So such. So are you as well going into churches to as well inform them on these issues?
Oh, yes. Actually, churches are the gateway we're planning to use when getting into the communities, because we feel definitely the way you said, we have all these people from the communities coming to church. So these are the places we actually also want to get, so that, because actually most of some problems we have are within the church, where people, the way you're saying, no, it's well, or some of these myths, they actually
Just
carry
drink
them
the
with.
water. You'll be fine.
Yes, and you have statements like, yes, you're young, you have more. But if the person is dealing with an
Abantu,
issue.
pashala abantu.
Exactly. So definitely churches. The other thing we had put up also was actually going in schools, because the gyne issues start with the young girls also. And then we've seen even right now, gyne health, people only go to see a doctor when they feel something is wrong. But gyne health is supposed to start while the girls are young and all that. Yes, so we're planning to actually go in schools, be able to have debates. They research about a topic and then they debate about it, all that, so that this awareness is going all out. Yes.
Okay. Awesome stuff. I saw, I think the other day on your status, I saw a snippet of your song coming out.
Oh, yes.
What's the song?
The song?
Yeah.
Okay, so the title of the song is actually Rest Easy. And this song was inspired by my son, the one I lost 7 months ago. So it's actually...
So the first one didn't give you inspiration?
No, it's inspiration from both, but this one specifically is more...
I guess the last one was more loved, eh?
No,
even having a song.
Both are all loved.
Yeah.
Both are all loved. It's just that the song is actually me telling the story of what I went through. Having him, so meeting him and how is first taken away and all that. So it's just a story into that phase of having this child and then going away. So that's what the song is about.
Okay. Is it available? Is it...
So it will be available on all streaming platforms on the 25th.
Okay.
Yes, of this month, January.
Pretty much 10 days from now. Yeah.
Yes, yes, we are counting down.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, great. Back to your husband. Look, there are a lot of men in this space who have experienced loss. And speaking from a more male point of view, what would be your word to that one person who might think to say, maybe I should just leave my wife. Maybe there's something wrong on their family end. Because you know, in our African setup, we've grown up with spirits and sisters and all those things. So they get to, maybe, I don't know, maybe one of your relatives or even somebody came through and said, could if there's something which she washed, or you get it. So yeah, so what would be your encouragement to?
Yeah, actually, one thing I've come to learn from all this is that, before you marry, we go through counseling, but not even the church or the family prepares us for such things, that there might be chances of not having children. You see, we all have just a mind of saying, once we marry, there will be children, there will be what? But there's that part that no one talks of, even the church, says, what if you don't have children? We actually had, I had this question. I was with my mother and my uncles. So one of my uncles asked the question like, Daniel, what if you marry and you won't have children? They were almost fighting with my mom. Why would you say that? Hey, what? But my uncle was right. So we just want to jump in marriage with one side, like the positive side.
So
There's also people in the Bible like Abraham and Sarah, they stayed for a long time until when God said you can now have a child. So I think even for the young ones, if I was to be a Kaumbe to someone, I'll make sure I prepare them for that. What if your wife is barren? Like, it's not like I want you to get the girl pregnant before marriage, no, but we need to prepare them how they should behave, how they need to support their wives in terms of a loss. For me, I just had to man up because I'm more close to my former Reverend Kaken. Even when I had a loss, he's one of the people who called me first to encourage me, because he also lost his son in an accident where he was just watching the news, then he sees the car, where you don't know anything. You see the car, it's a church car, and my son is also dead. So he told me, don't let anyone deprive you from grieving. You need to grieve. Let your wife just mourn the way you have to. Don't listen to people, loss is there, all those things. And he will tell you the reality of life. So I would also want to give back the same knowledge of telling the young men, like, you need to man up when certain things happen, and we need to offer more support to the women. I think they are more affected than us men.
Awesome.
That's what I would do.
Thank you. So any last words you'd want to share with somebody watching this, or you'd want to pray for someone who's battling depression? Because I know after the whole process, there are all those flashbacks which come through where people don't even feel like moving on. So
That's true. For someone who may be going through loss, sometimes loss of a child, it can be a sibling, a family member, a friend, someone you love. I just want to say it's a whole process, and the process is not like a straight road.
Yeah.
Some days will be good, some days will be bad. But I would love them to just know that at one point they'll get to a point whereby they'll be able to miss their loved ones without feeling the pain. It may seem impossible now, but it does happen.
Okay.
Yes, so step by step, and I would encourage them to avoid too much isolation.
Okay.
The devil thrives on pain. So they need to, even if they need to have a breakdown, it would be good for them to have someone. They can sit down. If it's crying, they can cry, no problem, but not burying yourself in days and days, no. Find something. So what I did was I love designing. So I think 2 weeks, 3 weeks after when my C-section was healed-ish, I started design school and stuff. I was able to go there, do what I love. It was
there where the salon as well was born from, or?
No, that was actually recently. The salon was born way before, way before, I think 10 years ago. But just recently, just after my loss, yes, I was able to go there, and it felt so good to do something I love to do and learn an art. So if they can just find where they can actually put in some positive energy, it will be very helpful, because being idle for so long is damaging. So I'll just encourage them, take it step by step. Avoid triggers. If it's a loss of a child, for me, I had to unfollow certain people, and it's okay, it's fine.
Okay,
For your own sanity.
So triggers might be seeing somebody rejoicing.
Oh, yes. For some, it might be seeing someone pregnant.
Yeah.
For some, because you find like...
No, how does one avoid seeing somebody pregnant?
Usually, I think maybe the closest people around you can be triggers then.
Okay.
So like for me, when I was expecting my son last year, I was like, maybe I had 5 friends or something expecting. So yeah, imagine it's a process. It will take a while for me to be okay to see even their kids, because as I tell myself, step by step, I'll be crossing bridges.
Yes.
I'll be okay with this. Now I'm okay. If someone is pregnant, I'm okay. There was a point I was not okay with that. Baby, now I'm okay. Now, before, So it's like step by step, and it's different for everyone.
Yes, true.
So you have to know yourself and say, okay, maybe let me avoid these certain things. It helps. It just helps. It's good to, think of yourself sometimes, and it's okay to think about yourself. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking to Zion Kemba Mwelwa, Mrs. Mwelwa, yeah, and the husband who's been speaking off the camera. Yeah, so it's been a very interesting topic. It has as well raised questions and an aspect to put our trust in God, that regardless, no matter what we go through, God is good. Amen. In the good and in the bad.
Yes.
So thank you very much for watching this episode of the Umubanga podcast. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You can watch the podcast on YouTube. You can listen to it on Apple Podcasts. You can listen to it on Google Podcast, Amazon, Spotify. So pretty much all the major platforms for podcasts. So thank you very much. We'll see you on the next one. Ciao.